A single father sat quietly at a small table near the window of an upscale restaurant, trying to make an ordinary evening feel special for his 8-year-old daughter. The restaurant was busy, with polished wooden tables, neatly dressed guests, and waiters moving quickly between the kitchen and dining room. Soft music played in the background while conversations blended into a constant murmur. The father, Daniel, was 38 years old. He wore a clean but slightly worn navy blue jacket over a simple gray shirt, dark trousers, and black shoes that showed signs of years of use. His short brown hair was neatly combed, and a faint line of tiredness showed beneath his eyes. His daughter, Lily, was 8, with shoulder-length brown hair tied into 2 small ponytails. She wore a light blue sweater, dark jeans, and white sneakers. Daniel had chosen the restaurant because Lily had been asking for weeks to eat somewhere fancy. He had promised her that when he had enough time and money, they would go somewhere special. Tonight, he finally managed it. He checked the menu carefully before ordering. "Can I have the chicken pasta?" Lily asked. Daniel smiled. "Of course. And maybe a chocolate dessert?" He pretended to think about it. "Maybe." Lily grinned. "That means yes." Their conversation was quiet, and Daniel did not attract attention intentionally. He simply wanted to spend time with his daughter. He placed his phone face down on the table and listened while Lily talked about her school day. Several tables away, the restaurant manager, a 45-year-old woman named Victoria, watched them. Victoria wore a black business suit, a white blouse, and her dark blonde hair was pulled tightly into a neat bun. She had worked at the restaurant for several years and took great pride in maintaining what she considered the restaurant's exclusive image. Her eyes moved from Daniel's worn jacket to his shoes and then to the inexpensive backpack resting beside Lily's chair. She frowned. "Where did they come from?" she quietly asked one of the waiters. The waiter glanced toward Daniel. "They ordered food, ma'am." "I can see that," Victoria replied. "But they don't look like our usual customers." The waiter hesitated. "They seem fine." Victoria said nothing, but she continued watching. Daniel had no idea he was being observed. He was helping Lily cut her food into smaller pieces when she suddenly looked toward the entrance. "Dad, look at that cake." Daniel followed her gaze and smiled. "That's the dessert display. It looks amazing." "We'll see." "I did." "So that's almost yes." Daniel shook his head, laughing. At that moment, Victoria walked past their table. She stopped briefly and looked at the plates. "Is everything all right?" she asked. Daniel looked up politely. "Yes, thank you. Everything is good." Victoria nodded, but her expression remained cold. "Good." She walked away. Lily looked at her father. Was she angry? Daniel glanced toward Victoria and then back at his daughter. "I don't think so. Maybe she's just busy." He didn't want Lily to worry. A few minutes later, Victoria approached another waiter and spoke in a low voice. "Keep an eye on that table." "Why?" "Just do it." The waiter looked uncomfortable but nodded. Daniel continued eating. Then Lily accidentally knocked over her water glass. It tipped across the table, spilling water near the edge. "Oh no," she whispered. "It's okay," Daniel immediately said. He grabbed the napkins and began cleaning the table. A waiter quickly brought fresh napkins. "Sorry about that," Daniel said. "No problem, sir." The waiter smiled at Lily. "Accidents happen." Lily thanked him. From across the room, Victoria watched the interaction. Her expression hardened. She picked up the restaurant phone. Daniel noticed her but thought nothing of it. Victoria stepped into a quiet area near the entrance and made a call. We have a customer who needs to be removed, she said firmly. The person on the other end asked a question. Victoria looked toward Daniel. He's sitting with a child. He doesn't look like he belongs here, and I don't want a problem. She ended the call. Daniel still had no idea what was happening. Lily was now excitedly describing a drawing she had made at school. Daniel listened carefully, smiling and asking questions. You drew all of that yourself? Yes. That's impressive. Do you like it? I love it. Lily leaned against his arm. Daniel looked at her and smiled. For him, this wasn't about the restaurant, the expensive tables, or what anyone thought of his clothes. It was simply a father spending an evening with his daughter. But somewhere near the entrance, security had already been contacted. And Victoria was certain that she had made the right decision. She had no idea that the man she was preparing to remove from the restaurant was about to reveal something that would change everything. Daniel remained seated with Lily, unaware that the restaurant manager had already contacted security. He was listening to his daughter describe her favorite part of the school day when he noticed two security employees entering through the main entrance. Lily continued talking. Dad, then my teacher said my picture was the most creative one. Daniel smiled. I told you that you're talented. He reached for his glass, but then he noticed the two security employees speaking quietly with Victoria near the entrance. His smile faded slightly. Dad? Daniel looked back at Lily. It's nothing. Keep telling me. But something about the situation felt strange. The two security employees were dressed in dark uniforms. One was a tall man in his early 40s with short black hair, while the other was a woman in her 30s with brown hair tied into a low ponytail. They stood near Victoria as she pointed discreetly toward Daniel's table. The tall security employee looked in Daniel's direction. Daniel noticed. He sat quietly for a moment. Lily followed his gaze. Are they looking at us? Daniel didn't want to alarm her. Maybe they're checking the restaurant. The security employees began walking toward them. Daniel placed his fork on the plate. Dad, are we in trouble? No, he said calmly. We haven't done anything wrong. The tall security employee stopped a few feet from the table. Sir? Daniel looked up. Yes? May I speak with you for a moment? Certainly. The employee glanced toward Victoria. She asked us to escort you outside. Daniel looked genuinely surprised. Why? The security employee hesitated. She said there was a concern about your presence here. Daniel looked around the restaurant. I understand. Did I break a rule? No, sir. Did I disturb anyone? No. Daniel remained calm, but his expression became serious. Then why am I being asked to leave? The security employee didn't immediately answer. Behind him, Victoria stepped closer. Because I don't believe this restaurant is the right place for you, she said. Daniel turned toward her. What does that mean? Victoria folded her arms. You know exactly what I mean. No, Daniel replied. I don't. You came in dressed like that, carrying an old backpack, and you're sitting here as though you own the place. Daniel looked down at his clothes. His jacket was old. His shoes were worn. His daughter's backpack had clearly been used for years. But everything was clean. He looked back at Victoria. I came here to have dinner with my daughter. Victoria shook her head. We have standards. Daniel's expression remained controlled. I paid for our meal. Yes. And we haven't caused any trouble. No. Then your standards have nothing to do with me. A few nearby customers had stopped eating. They were quietly watching. Victoria noticed the attention and lowered her voice. "Sir, please don't make this difficult." Daniel looked at the security employee. "Did she tell you I stole something?" "No." "Did she say I threatened anyone?" "No." "Did she say I damaged property?" "No." Daniel nodded slowly. "Then there's no reason for you to remove me." The security employee looked uncomfortable. "I agree that this seems to be a misunderstanding." Victoria immediately interrupted. "That's enough. Please escort him out." Daniel turned toward her. "Before you do that, I'd like to ask you one question." Victoria sighed. "What?" "Who is the owner of this restaurant?" Victoria's expression changed slightly. "Why?" "Because I need to speak with him." She gave a small, dismissive laugh. "The owner isn't here." Daniel reached into his jacket. Lily watched curiously as he pulled out his phone. "I think you'll find that he is." Victoria stared at him. Daniel unlocked the phone and opened an email. The subject line was from the restaurant's corporate office. He placed the phone on the table. Victoria leaned forward. Her eyes moved across the screen. Then she stopped. Her face went completely still. Daniel watched her carefully. "You said the owner isn't here," he said quietly. Victoria looked at him. "How do you know the owner?" Daniel gave a calm answer. "Because the owner is me." The security employees exchanged surprised glances. Victoria's face lost its confidence. Daniel stood slowly. "I didn't come here tonight to inspect the restaurant," he said. "I came here because my daughter wanted to have dinner somewhere special." Lily looked up at him. "Dad?" Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's okay." He looked toward Victoria again. "You judged me because of what I was wearing." Victoria opened her mouth, but no words came. Daniel continued. "You didn't ask my name. You didn't ask if there was a problem. You didn't even give me a chance to explain anything." The restaurant had become almost completely silent. Daniel picked up his phone. "Security was called because you decided I didn't look like I belonged here." He paused. "But before they arrived, you should have checked who you were dealing with." Victoria stared at the floor. Daniel looked toward the security employees. "You can stand down." They nodded and stepped back. Then Daniel turned to Victoria. "Now we need to talk about your decision as a manager." For the first time that evening, Victoria realized that the person she had tried to remove from the restaurant had the authority to decide whether she would still have a job.